In this video, I'm going to talk about how to properly set the gain and your computer settings with your Rode Videomic NTG when using it directly via USB for the best audio quality, and more importantly, for the best signal to noise ratio, or rather, how to keep the amount of noise or hiss to a minimum using this mic, or really, any USB mic. Hi, I'm Marcus Hutzel. In this video, we're going to talk primarily about the Rode Videomic NTG and how to set it up for the best audio quality when it's connected directly to your computer via USB. I had a commenter email me directly asking for some pointers because she was getting too much hiss or too much noise in her recordings using the Rode Videomic NTG connected via USB. And basically, all I did is I took a step back and explained the process from beginning to end for gain structuring the mic and the computer and all the possible components or software settings in between, and following the signal flow from the sound source to the mic, to the computer, and to the editing software. So just audio basics first. Then I went into the options for the Rode Videomic NTG specifically, and then she was able to clean up her audio. So this video will cover some audio basics that are more general, but very important about proper gain structure, audio signal flow, and lowering the amount of noise in your recordings. So you can apply this information to any microphone, not just the Rode Videomic NTG. And we're talking about capturing good audio, capturing good, clean audio, not editing it. Getting rid of noise with audio software is a topic for another time in another video. And this information applies to both Mac and PC users. The type of PC you're using doesn't matter. But using the Rode Videomic NTG directly connected via USB does kind of change how and where you actually set the gain when using this particular microphone and the corresponding computer settings. And again, some of this can apply to any USB connected microphone for checking your signal flow. There are just a few more options and built-in controls with the Rode Videomic NTG specifically. And this information is not really about specific settings on this microphone or any microphone, because settings alone won't always help you get the best audio. It's really important for you to understand the gain structure and the signal flow process so you can properly set gain on all of your devices in line from sound source to destination. So pay close attention to the method and not so much the settings, because you should be able to apply gain structuring methods to any audio signal chain, whether it's an XLR mic plugged into a USB audio interface, or whether it's the Rode Videomic NTG or any other USB direct microphone. Knowing proper gain structure and knowing where settings are and what those settings do on your microphones and other devices will help you achieve great, clean audio every time. Lastly, keep in mind, I don't usually record my audio for my videos using the Rode Videomic NTG directly connected via USB. I usually run my mic directly into my camera and record the audio and video directly onto my camera, then dump that into my video editing software where I use EQ, compression, and noise reduction plugins to clean up my audio, make it sound better, and get the level up to where I want it. And as I said, I will not be covering any of my post-processing settings in this video. Look for another video on that topic soon or in my video library. However, I do use this mic connected directly via USB for virtual meetings and to record audio into Adobe Audition, which is how I'm using it today. I've got the mic connected directly to my dock over here, which is going into Adobe Audition, because that's how we're talking about the use of this mic today, connected directly via USB. So all the audio in this video was recorded using the Rode Videomic NTG connected directly to my computer and recording again in Adobe Audition. And for those of you that are impatient and don't want to wait, here are my settings when I use the Videomic NTG as a direct USB mic. I have the mic boomed up here about 12 to 14 inches away from me on an articulating arm. I don't use the 20 dB pad. I don't use the safety channel. I have the 75 Hz low cut filter on. I do not use the high frequency boost. And when connected via USB, the gain knob on the back has no effect on my input to the computer. So I just don't worry about it, and it usually just leave it where it was when I had it set previously if I were recording directly into my camera. Seriously, the gain knob will not affect your signal into the computer when using the mic connected via USB. More on that topic here in a bit. But the rest of my settings are over in macOS, where I have the input slider for the Videomic NTG set to about 55 to 60% on the input tab in the sound setting and system preferences. But if you really want to get better at understanding audio and be able to take any mic or any piece of equipment and get great sounding audio, keep watching and learn something, because if you just set these settings the same as mine, you might be okay, but you might also still clip something out and your audio will be ruined. You have to check at every point along the way. You've been warned. So let's start at the beginning. I did an entire video on the Rode Videomic NTG, so if you want to get a more general overview of its features, you can watch that video in my library. I'll link it below. But real quick, I want to go over two aspects of the features that you may not have known about on this mic. And the first is about the safety channel on the Rode Videomic NTG and the fact that this mic technically has two outputs that get transmitted over to your destination, left and right, whether it's connected via a 3.5mm cable out to something like your camera or when it's connected via USB. The safety channel will reduce the level of the second or right channel of this mic so that if your main or left channel clips out and is too loud for the mic, your camera, or your computer on channel 1, then the safety channel, the right channel, or channel 2 is most likely not clipped out because it was reduced in level before it left the mic and therefore probably didn't clip out the next piece of equipment in the chain. But when using the mic via USB, the safety channel only shows up when you're using specific audio recording software like Adobe Audition, Apple GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools, etc. If you're having a virtual meeting, then the virtual meeting platform, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, those meeting platforms will only see a single input and they'll get the louder channel, so basically channel 1. So there's no need to use the safety channel when using the mic in a virtual meeting platform. Secondly, the gain knob on the back is a bit of a misnomer because it's really more like a mic output volume knob. It doesn't really gain the mic up or down per se. It really only controls the output level of the 3.5mm jack on the side of the mic. This is how you adjust the level going to your camera when using the 3.5mm output and cable to your camera by using the knob on the back of the mic to send more or less level to the camera. But when the mic is connected to a computer via USB, the gain knob on the back of the mic does not control the level into the computer. I repeat, when the mic is connected via USB, the knob on the back of the mic has no effect on the level going into your computer. It's really not applying gain to the mic, it's adjusting the audio output of the 3.5mm jack only. And I'll show you how we know this here in a bit on my laptop. Now, when we hook the mic up via USB, Rode states that the 3.5mm output of the mic can then be used as a headphone jack. So you can plug in your headphones directly to the mic and monitor the audio from the mic in real time in headphones. And you use the gain knob or the knob on the back of the mic to control the level going to the headphones. So again, the 3.5mm jack works exactly the same way. The knob simply changes the output level of the 3.5mm port. So if you want to monitor yourself in real time and hear the mic in the headphones, then use the 3.5mm jack on the mic, plug in your headphones directly to the mic, and use the knob on the back of the mic to control the volume in your headphones. I don't use the mic this way that much because typically I have the mic mounted up here and out of the way, so the knob on the back of the mic is a bit uncomfortable and out of reach. But if you use the mic on a desk stand, maybe like this, and the mic is closer and the knob more reachable, then using the 3.5mm jack on the mic may work better for you for using it as a headphone output, because it's a great way to monitor yourself while speaking into the mic in real time. And the computer can also use the mic as an audio output so you can hear all of your computer system sounds and your virtual meetings through the headphone jack on the mic as well. So you can have a virtual meeting and hear yourself and your meeting participants if you use the headphone jack on the mic. Nifty. Now, when using the mic via USB directly on your computer with the USB-C output on the mic, we need to go through a few steps to set the gain properly for our computer. And we have to do that on the computer, not the mic, because as I'm about to show you, again, the gain knob on the mic has no effect on the level to the USB output. All right, so finally, let's get a good signal into our computer. Let's set our gain for our signal flow and for what we're trying to capture, which is our main sound source, in this case, my voice. Then we'll watch the clip indicator on the mic to determine if we need to use the pad. Then we'll check the system preferences in Mac or Windows sound settings, and then we'll check our software or our meeting platform. Always start at the sound source and work towards the destination. Never start at the destination and work your way backwards. Be it a camera using the 3.5mm cable or be it a computer if you're using USB output. You have to start at the sound source and work your way towards the recording device. So I'll do this first with the mic boomed up in my normal position up here about 12 to 14 inches above and slightly out in front of me. So step one, after the mic is positioned where you want it, plug in a USB-C cable to the mic and the other end into your computer. It's best to use the cable that came with the mic, but it wasn't long enough for my setup because I had the mic boomed way up overhead up here. So I have a longer USB-C to USB-A cable running up the articulating arm and down over here on the other side of my desk, where I can plug it directly into my Thunderbolt dock to get it into my computer. So the mic is connected and we can see that it powers on automatically and the LED turns blue to indicate that it's seeing that USB connection to the computer. but it will also then turn green after about a couple of minutes of establishing that connection, so don't be worried. So now that the mic is on and connected, we can sit up in our normal speaking position for the recording or meeting and just speak as we normally would, which brings us to step 2. Step 2, make sure the 20 dB pad is not engaged on the mic. We want to start with the pad off. You can turn it on later if you need, but the 20 dB pad, like any pad, is really only meant to be used if the sound source you're recording is too loud for the mic. Also, if the output level of the mic is too hot for the device receiving it, you may also need the pad. Remember that if you use this pad or any pad to reduce the signal level, it's going to push your main audio signal, the signal you want to capture, down or closer to the noise floor of the equipment, and that might make your final audio have more noise than you want. Basically, remember that all audio equipment, microphones, cables, audio interfaces, and preamps all have some level of system noise and can pick up noise along the way. This noise can show up in your recordings as hiss or possibly hum. Noise is always there on any set of equipment and signal chain, and some equipment has more and worse sounding noise than other equipment, and some equipment has very little noise. Think of the noise floor as this minimal amount of noise that just sits down way down here, and it may be so low that you don't hear it, but on cheaper equipment, it may be fairly audible. So noise is always down there, and if amplified enough times through our equipment, we can start to hear that noise. So let's say the audio signal we want to capture is generally a lot louder, like our voice, and it sits up here well above the noise floor. Well, if we pad or reduce the audio signal that we want to capture, it will push that main audio signal down closer to the noise floor. Because pads alone won't often reduce the noise floor of a piece of equipment, most often the noise is still at the same level, even though our pad reduced the main signal. So the next device will then have to boost that signal. And that next device, like a preamp, will be amplifying our main signal, which is now a lot closer to the noise floor. And that next device will also have its own inherent noise as well, and that preamp may have more noise than your main signal. So the preamp's noise will also then get amplified and sent through the system. And if we reduced our main audio signal at the beginning of the chain and put it closer to the noise floor, then we boost that overall signal with the next device, we have the potential of adding more noise to the overall signal. And that overall noise floor starts to get louder and more audible as things like hiss or hum in our audio signal. So we always want to have our main audio signal as loud as we can get it without clipping out any of the equipment in our chain. And this keeps our main audio signal as far above that noise floor as possible. And that is signal to noise ratio. And we always want to have as much distance between our main audio signal and the inherent noise floor of our equipment. But I will say that there's very little chance for much noise or hiss with this particular mic because Rode has done a great job with this mic and it has very little self noise. So even with the pad on and then boosting the signal in the computer later, you're not going to be introducing that much noise because again, it's a great quality microphone, but it's always something to be aware of, test, and listen for. Okay, now back to it. All right, so step 3, with the pad off, start talking. Easy, just speak as you normally would at your normal distance and keep your eyes on that clip indicator on the mic. And now with the mic powered and me speaking and the pad off, I can see if the clip indicator lights up when I speak. I don't generally have the pad engaged on my Videomic NTG because in my preferred method of having the mic mounted up and above me, away from me at my normal speaking level of my voice, I generally don't clip out the mic because the clip indicator on the mic just doesn't light up when I'm speaking at this distance, at this volume. So that's step 3. I determined that my sound source is not too loud for the mic, so I don't need the pad. And if you use the mic as a boom mic like I do, and you're recording regular dialogue, that is normal speaking voice, not shouting, then chances are you won't need the pad either. But if you use the mic right in front of you, like this, and your mouth and voice are right up on the front of the mic, then you may need the pad. But again, don't arbitrarily turn it on. Let's check the levels. But first, let's put this mic back. Now, the only hard part about using the Videomic NTG is that it can be a bit tough to see the clip indicator whether you have it mounted up and over you on a boom arm or whether you have it right in front of you on a small stand. So I have used a small mirror to see the clip indicator, just put it up here like this so I can actually view the clip indicator to see if it's clipping out. I mean, $5, not a bad little tool for being able to have great audio levels. And I've used this as well for even when I have the mic right in front of me. Sometimes the clip indicator can be hard to see. So a little mirror or just, maybe taking off the phone windscreen can sometimes unobstruct your view to the clip indicator. But even with the mic boomed up and over me, I'm generally able to mount it in such a way and rotate it that I can still see the clip indicator from my normal seated position. So just make sure you can see the clip indicator when setting your levels. All right, step 4, and I'm willing to bet this is something that almost everyone forgets to check, and that's the input level on the computer itself before it gets into any other software or meeting platform. Basically, even when used as USB mic, the operating system, be it Mac or Windows, has its own USB preamp or input level that we have to check first because it's the next piece of equipment in line after our mic. And if we clip out our signal just as it enters the laptop, then everything downstream of that main input is going to receive a clipped signal. So if you clip out the input level or USB preamp on the computer, then Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Adobe Audition, GarageBand, they're all going to receive that clipped signal because it was clipped here. So if our signal chain goes from left to right in this view here, if this is clipped out, then the equipment or software downstream of this can't fix it. Signal flow, follow it. Sound source, microphone, laptop, input level, software. You have to go in that order. Now I'm on a Mac, so I go to System Preferences, Sound, then the Input tab, and then select Rode Videomic NTG for the input. And once selected, we now have an input slider here at the bottom where we can now see my input levels with the visual meters just under the slider. Not all USB mics or interfaces will have this adjustable slider, like the Behringer UM2. It doesn't have this additional input gain in System Preferences, but you still need to check here because you can still view your input level with the on-screen meters. In this case, with the Videomic NTG, since it has an input slider that we can adjust, this is kind of the computer's input preamp. It's our master input level on the computer for this source. And as you can see, that every input device, once selected, usually has its own input slider. But all inputs will have visual meters at minimum. So I can set the level of the internal mic separately from the input level of the Rode Videomic NTG, and so on. And now we can set our input level on the computer. For Microsoft Windows, right-click on the volume icon on the system tray, click on Sound Settings, and when prompted with the sound window, scroll down to the input section and select the Rode Videomic NTG from the input drop-down menu, and then you'll see a similar input slider which also shows the audio levels with the visual meter. All right, step 5, continue speaking and watch the input level here on your computer. So I can see the meters move here as I talk, and I can also see that we're almost clipping out. And many of you may reach for the gain knob on the back of the mic, but that will not work on this mic because again, when connected via USB, the knob on the back of the mic has no effect on the level into your computer. And here's the proof. All right, so I've got several cameras set up. I've got the screen recording so you can see the input meters here in macOS. And I'm going to just show you the view with my iPhone here. So here we've got, I'm recording the screen with OBS. I've got the Videomic NTG going in directly via USB, going directly to Adobe Audition. And the Sony camera is filming the back of the microphone so that you can see right there when I make those changes up on the mic, you can see me turning the knob, and then you can see that it actually has no effect on the input to the computer. So let me set this down. And now as I speak, I hope I didn't clip that out because you can see here on macOS, the input meters, I'm having to speak a little quietly because I don't want to clip this out, but I'm very close to clipping out the computer itself. So a lot of people would just then, oh, I need to grab the gain knob and turn down the microphone gain. But as I do that, if I don't knock the mic off its pedestal there, if I turn this down and I'm going to talk, you can see as I turn this down, and you can see the back of the mic there, as I turn it down, I'm down at, I keep turning it way down. I can turn it all the way down. You can see the input levels on macOS did nothing. There's still, the microphone is still sending out the same level because that knob has no effect on the USB output. The only way at this point to turn down my audio and hopefully not clip it out is to grab the slider in macOS and bring it down to where we can actually speak at a decent level and not clip out our audio. So I usually put mine somewhere around 55, 60, maybe 70% maximum so that I've got plenty of headroom in case I get a little louder or exuberant when I'm recording a video or having a meeting. So now every other software program will receive this input level as we've gain stage it from our sound source, our voice, to the mic, to the computer, then to our software or meeting platform through macOS system preferences or through Windows sound settings. So we can see here in Adobe Audition that my level is good, strong, and not clipping. This is a crucial step in gain staging this or any USB microphone, because if you're clipping out here in system preferences or Windows sound settings, you may not know it, and your other software or virtual meeting participants will hear distorted audio. And once I set the input level here in system preferences for the Videomic NTG or any USB input, it will generally remember that setting if I unplug and replug the mic back in. So I don't always have to check it once I set the gain the first time, as long as I'm using the mic in the same type of scenario, same type of distance the next time. But it's good to check it from time to time. So by default, the first time you ever plug in a USB mic, the sliders in our operating systems will generally be all the way up, and we may be clipping out the software or input here on our computers. And here's where some of you might reach for the pad on the mic, because the pad will reduce the output level of the mic over to the computer, and we'll see that reduction here in system preferences of Mac or Windows. So if I reach up here and turn on the pad on the mic, let's grab it right there. We can see that the pad is now on. Let me get that in focus. And we can now see in macOS system preferences that the input level has dropped significantly, and I've had to boost this audio in post because I've turned the pad on. I reduced the level to the computer, and now we can see the meters on the input slider here in macOS that my meters dropped way, way down. And then I can actually turn up the slider in macOS. But as you can see, I actually can't get enough level. Again, I've amplified this for you for this video in post-production, but I'm actually not getting enough input to the computer at this distance with the pad on. So I'm going to turn it back off. All right, there, back to my normal settings. So if you use the pad on the mic, then the preamp on your computer, that input slider, will then have to work harder and use its own internal gain to amplify the now lower signal from the microphone. And if you remember what I said a minute ago, all of our equipment has some level of unwanted noise. If our gear has a loud noise floor with a lot of noise coming from the mic we're using, then that noise floor, along with our main audio signal, will get boosted. And if we reduce the overall level coming into our computers, say with the pad, then we would be making the input slider here do a lot more of the amplifying. And that input slider or USB preamp might also add additional noise from its own internal components, especially now since you'll most likely have to boost this audio in your audio or video editor, further increasing the chances of boosting the noise along with it. It just depends on your computer and the mic, so you have to listen and you have to make sure your main audio signal is as far above that noise floor as you can get it. Most modern devices have pretty low noise to start, but you still need to listen for it, and if you hear noise you don't want, you'll need to see if you've done everything in your signal chain to reduce it. You may get better results using the pad on any mic and then amplifying the signal in your operating system's system preferences, but if you follow the method and listen, then you'll be able to determine what sounds the best for your situation, and you'll be able to troubleshoot any gain staging issues if you follow the signal chain. And lastly, I usually have the 75 Hz low cut filter engaged all the time to get rid of low end rumbles like maybe the air conditioner that's outside next to my office or other low frequencies that can just be bothersome in a virtual meeting. I don't generally use the 150 Hz low cut filter when I'm recording dialogue, because cutting frequencies that high up to about 150 Hz can start to cut out some of the bass in my voice, but generally there's nothing below 75 Hz that I'm using this mic in my office for that I need. So I just turn on the 75 Hz low cut filter and leave it on most of the time. Now, real quick, let's put the mic down here closer to me and do the same thing. All right, so now with the mic right here by my voice, the main sound source, my voice is pushing more SPL or more sound pressure level or sound pressure on the microphone's diaphragm. My voice is louder to the mic. And if I talk reasonably, I may not clip out the mic, but if I just raise my voice a little bit, you can see, and I can see on the clip indicator on the mic, that when I speak just a bit louder, or if I get a little exuberant, that now I am clipping out the microphone itself. Now, you might just go to System Preferences again or Windows Sound Settings and turn down the input slider, and yes, that will reduce the level into your computer and the software. But if I clip out the mic itself, then even if I adjust the slider way down on my computer so that the slider doesn't clip out the software or the USB input, it doesn't matter. The audio will still sound clipped because I'm clipping out further up the signal chain right here at the mic. I'm clipping out the first device. And if I clip out this device, no other device downstream can unclip it. The next device can just turn down how much of that signal it's receiving, but it can't fix it if it's distorted or clipped. And this goes for any USB mic, any microphone into a preamp. If you clip at point A, you can never fix it at point B, C, D, E, or F. You have to fix it at point A. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and engage a 20 dB pad on this mic. And we can see now in Mac System Preferences that our input gain has gone down, just as it should. And now we can adjust our input slider as needed to achieve the input level of around 75 to 85% at our maximum speaking level. Always leaving some headroom at the top in case we get louder than we think we're going to get. So now, using the pad, we still achieved a proper input level into the computer, and to my ears, this didn't add any noticeable noise. So this method always works just fine, and we determine in this style setup with the mic closer to your mouth that you probably will need the pad using the Rode Videomic NTG like this. But I think I'm going to put this back up there to finish out the video. All right, microphone back to where I like it. So if there's one thing in this video I want to stress, it's follow the signal chain. Start at the beginning and work your way towards the destination and never in reverse. Check that you aren't clipping out anything in the signal chain, and if you are, fix it before it gets to the next device. This is the simple process of signal flow and gain structure, and it works with any mic, any set of audio components, USB, XLR, or otherwise. Start at the sound source. Don't arbitrarily just turn on settings because that's what someone else did to get the sound they got. You don't always know what they were doing, how they were recording, whether they were up close to the mic or far away from it. Don't arbitrarily just turn on settings. You've got to check every point in the chain, and you've got to trust not only your ears and what you're hearing, but you've got to trust your audio meters as well. Meters are on our devices to tell us if we have enough or too much or not enough signal going into our audio components. They're there, we need to use them. All right, I think we're done. I truly hope you watched all this video and learned something. And if you have learned something, please leave me a comment down below and let me know. And consider subscribing. I'd love to teach you more. All right, good luck. See you in the next one.